Hey guys, welcome to a new winter, Cults and Culture. I'm here with Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hi, good to see you again.
It's good to hear you again.
Oh, you've broken the illusion.
I don't think I'd want to see you right now. I imagine you're just in your pants or whatever with a pizza.
Yeah, classic Sunday afternoon action.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing another 3 hits and a shit today. Because we really enjoyed doing it, and we want to do another one, and we're going to try and make this a bit of a regular format. Yeah, you enjoyed the last one, right?
Yeah, it was great fun. Heard a cool couple of new songs, heard a not-so-good song. It's always good to have new material put in front of my nose.
Yeah, since then I've actually listened to more William Onyeabor.
Cool.
And yeah, kind of explored that a little bit more. Yeah, and I've enjoyed it. It's quite cool to. Like, I have it on sometimes in the background at work. I find it quite nice to listen to. In the background, but yeah.
Let's see if I can throw a few more interesting nuggets your way.
Well, exactly, and vice versa. So the idea of this format, as you can or cannot tell, is we will each play a song to each other in turn, 3 of which we consider a hit that we like, 1 of which an absolute turd that we hate. Can you guess which? And last time we did it, I actually had labelled which one I thought was the shit. But this time, it's, who knows? It's just a set of numbers that I've sent to you, Dan. So yeah, it's up to you to figure out.
Veritable Russian roulette of excrement.
Oral excrement. So Dan, why don't we do one of your songs first?
Okay.
How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds marvellous. So yeah, just go with number 1.
Here we go. So that was your shit, I'm guessing.
You've fallen into my trap.
Straight off the bat.
My shitty, sticky trap. Because you criticised my lineup last time.
Where it was, yeah.
You were like, oh, you should have been bold and put your shit right at the beginning. So I thought, yeah, I'll put something that could potentially be my shit. But no.
It's not your shit.
Confounding your expectations. No, I kind of like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you got any thoughts about what you think it might be? Or?
Yeah. I've definitely heard it before. I cannot, for the life of me, remember. I think it's a song that I would have heard back when it was released, which I'm guessing is like mid-90s or something, and I probably haven't actually heard anywhere since. I think the intro was horrible and I hated it. The chorus melody I don't actually mind, and the way he sings it is so terrible yet so intriguing at the same time. So bold, but like really kind of trying to sing like death metal or something. It's like someone who can't sing that punky, grungy, death metal-y or whatever, like grit in their voice. And it just goes right up into the like nasal area. And yeah. The chorus, I was like, okay, yeah, it's quite, that chorus I don't mind, but they do play that chorus about 20 times in a row or something at the end. They definitely cottoned on that was the hook of the song. Yeah, so who was it?
That was marvellous. That was Pissed On.
Right.
Remember that name?
No. Should I?
So they were kind of, they were always in Kerrang, like in 1996, 1997.
Right, yeah.
Which is when I first started kind of reading it. And I think that song specifically was on one of the like cover-mounted Radio Kerrang CDs.
Yeah, it's perfect fodder for that.
So yeah, it was called Grey Flap.
Oh my god!
By Piston, but spelt with that full stop between the T and the O. So pissed on.
Right. Okay. I thought you meant like as in like piss jeans or something like PISSED.
Yeah. No, they weren't that.
But I get what they've done there.
They weren't that inflammatory, but their album cover had a picture of a little like toy model boy thing having a little Jimmy Riddle.
Right.
So again, adding to the whole kind of like the pissy nature of their presentation.
Okay. So this is one of your hits. You consider this one of your hits?
Well, I just like rediscovered it recently, and I know last time we did this, so I might be coming from like wildly hypocritical. I know I did Cold Chamber Loco.
Yeah.
But when I heard this,
chastise for me for it.
when I heard this, I was like, that was better than I remembered it, and I don't know, just had a little. It's got like a little kind of like nice like haziness to it. It really feels like they're falling between a crack because obviously 1996, you've still got all the, alternative post-grunge bands knocking around.
Yeah,
and it's got all that in the kind of like guitar tone and the riffing, and we're just about to get all the like new metal,
right?
And I feel like doesn't quite know where he sits as well, the singer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what happens to this band.
Yeah,
they're pushing them hard.
Yeah, I was just looking because I was like, oh, maybe if I recognise anything to do with them, it might knock something loose in my head. But no, I don't remember anything. But apparently they did do a reunion, and they went on tour last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember the bassist was a woman, which was very popular at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, if you had like
Cold
an
Chamber.
alternative-y, metal-y band, you get a woman bassist. And she was called Val I Am.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? It's a creative name.
Forerunner of Will I Am.
Sister. Yeah, I'm looking at this. The cover album is quite funny, actually. Yeah, I don't remember it, though. But, well, that's interesting. Yeah, so I just got to clarify this. This isn't your shit of the week. Because you're pussyfooting around it a little bit, and I'm like, am I expecting... Does it go downhill from here?
No, I'm not pussyfooting. That is not the shit.
Okay.
That's not the shit.
Wow. That's a hit. That's a triple Dan hit right there.
I just wanted to mix things up a bit, and I wanted to trick you, basically.
Yeah, well, consider myself tricked. You did well. I did fall into your sticky mess that you laid out for me.
At the expense of any credibility that I may have had before I started the show.
Up to that point.
Yeah, so joke's on you, ha.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go with my first track. And I've even forgotten what it is, but let's have a listen.
Blimey. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. No idea what it is.
Oh, good.
I enjoyed the kind of really quite absurd lyrics.
Yeah.
But they're also, like very British kind of kitchen sink and like old school oi kind of punk.
Mm-hmm.
The music itself it was actually quite like slick.
Yeah.
I can imagine that being like a big kind of mainstream dramatic indie rock band, but then with this like what sounds like a kind of like drunken kind of skinhead poet.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, you're not that far off, really. So, funny enough, so that was Idols, by the way. And that was from their second album that's now just been up for the Mercury Music Prize. Joy is a Act of Resistance, I think it's called. And that's called Never Fight a Man with a Perm. Which you might have heard him say in the actual track. So, yeah, I know we talked about them briefly the other week, and a mate of mine who said, oh, you should listen to them. And when I first listened to them, it reminded me of a little bit like an angry Art Brut, and that kind of talky, singy thing. And or like, I don't know, like I was like, oh, bands like McCluskey have done this a bit before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's been done, I'm not really for it. And then I caught their Glastonbury set, and because another mate of mine said, oh, you should watch them at Glastonbury or whatever, so I was okay. And by the end of it, I was converted. I was like, man, might actually be the best band right now, at least best British band that's kind of going on. And the more I read up about it, the more I liked the way that it takes things that, that like men are allowed to get emotional. Like, it's okay to be left wing. Brexit is fucking bollocks and all this stuff. And, like we're talking about putting homophobes in coffins and like, that real, it's kind of a bit like what we were talking about with Gloss the other week as well. Like having something to say, and the fact that this guy Joe is the front singer who's you look at him, he's all like tatted up as this small guy, you can tell he's like angry. They're all from Bristol, whatever, and and he's had like he's quite vocal about his history, about being like a drunk and a drug addict, and he looked after his mum while she was dying, and she died, and that really like tore him up and all this stuff. And he's kind of worn his heart on his chest with all this stuff, and it really like comes through. So that song is a little bit about like his angry youth.
Okay.
But at the same, weirdly, it's like kind of full circle, because it's kind of talking, it's kind of criticising that kind of, that Larry lad kind of thing. But it's been almost like, it can almost be used for it as well, if you know what I mean.
It could be co-opted.
A bit like a fight song, yeah. And, they're very like angry and very visual when you see them live. And yeah, since then, I've just been just buried myself within all the music I can to do with them, and just like what they're about and their politics, and the fact that they're very open about being like modern men, and that very anti that kind of toxic masculinity, and yet do it in such an oi punk kind of way that that's very like aggressive, and in a weird way is quite manly of itself, and it's like violent nature. I've just been, but at the same time, the songs are actually really good, and they've got really good hooks, and are just great to listen to, as and of themselves, taking away all that kind of, political or social commentary or whatever. They're actually just good songs, and that's probably my favourite song, or one of my favourites at least, off the album, but it's probably the most accessible, I'd say. So I really loved it.
Do you like Fat White Family?
Yeah, we've talked about this before as well, because we went to see, I was with you, wasn't I, when we went to see
Wondershire.
Yeah, that's right. And I've been kind of listening, I'd listened to some of the stuff before that, but I haven't gone deep into them really. It's mainly just been the singles, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, the music's very different, but I think they're left leaning, almost like socialists, and they wear it very openly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking, like, do you like Sleaford Mods?
I don't know them.
That's very much that, like, street poet from the north, and lots of just allusions to like bog standard British culture. I liked that Idol song, just like opening with the line "Brill Cream." Yeah. You already kind of like know this is going to be an attack on a certain type of person in like British culture.
Yeah, you look like you're from Love Island was also a great line. But yeah, I really like that song. But yeah, let's listen to your next one.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm going to give that a listen now. Well, that was awful. Yeah, I am still not sure whether that would be one of your hits or one of your shits. The one thing I did like about it actually was the harmonies, and that's probably the thing I always love best about that kind of 80s, hair metal sounding, even if it wasn't that music. Is I was like, some great harmonies kind of going on there, but apart from that. I detested it. Just the way he says rats. Rats. Like, what the fuck? Who was it? I've never heard that song before in my life.
So it's the Swedish band Ghost.
Nope, don't know them, but okay.
They're really big, and I always see a lot of stuff on Instagram about them. And it got to the point where basically last year this album came out, and I thought, can't ignore them anymore. I should check them out.
Last year?
So that song was called Rat, and it's from their Ghost's fourth album, Prequel. Right. Which came out about this time last year.
They love a pun, don't they, these metal bands?
Yeah, tell me about it.
It came out last year.
Yeah, last year. And I think I've been led to believe they were a bit more, I don't know, in like a more extreme metal maybe kind of place. So I don't know if they've evolved. But yeah, that was just like everything that I kind of hate.
Right. So it's a shit for you.
Yeah. Steamer. The reason I picked it actually is because, I like download a lot of music, and I've got basically everything I listen to, I almost always find something, worth retaining. Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, I got it, so I might as well keep it. Right. But yesterday I found myself deleting that album.
It's not even worth the, 10 megs or something it takes up on your drive.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not surprised. That was awful. That's dreadful.
It could be quite controversial, though, because, like I say, they seem to be insanely popular.
Just go and listen to, 80s... I don't know. It's like... I didn't listen to that and think, oh, they're taking, 80s hair metal and doing something different. It's like... It's just literally just a parody of... Well...
Yeah.
Might as well be a cover or something, I don't know.
Exactly. I think people because they do really cool, visually they're quite cool. They've got really good packaging, and I think the lead singer in the band has this kind of weird, kind of cardinal outfit, and he's got skull makeup and all this stuff.
All this stuff, okay, right. Yeah, and I guess it's Scandinavia love their metal, don't they? So, yeah, what works for them? Okay, well, yeah. Anything else to say about them?
Just don't listen to any more of it.
Just don't even go there. Ghost is now dead in our eyes. Okay, well, yeah, feel free to listen to my number 2 song, which you may or may not enjoy.
Okay. Well, I was enjoying myself here, drumming along happily on my desk. However, I'm now doffing the black handkerchief on my head to deliver the verdict of shit. Oh. Am I right?
Yeah, of course you're right. Jeez. I'm guessing you knew who it was.
That's the Green Day.
Yes, the Day of Green. Yeah, that's Revolution Radio, I believe it's called. And it's just the epitome of everything that I hate about Green Day. for the last, 20 years now, probably. Where do you think... I think Nimrod was where they started to falter properly.
Yeah, with retrospect, because I think we both did really liked that album at the time.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, it's got a lot more polish and I mean, at that time as well, I liked the fact there were all these different songs on it. But now I think that was just him kind of grasping at straws a bit.
Yeah.
For me, when it really went wrong was, and I've got a theory, because I think then they did the Warning album, and it really didn't do that well.
Yeah.
And he kind of tried something a bit different. And I think maybe they kind of we need to make a decision here. Do we want to be successful? And that's when they made that American Idiot album, which was the most reductive, derivative kind of thing they could have done. The most, try hard, trying to give kids what they want. And it's all been the same old shit ever since. Yeah,
and it's very much of that ilk. It's quite funny because I was thinking about it, how there did seem to be a hiatus of sorts, and I don't know whether that's just something in my head. I could probably just look it up now, but between... Yeah, well, basically, when American Idiot came out, the video, bearing in mind, this was still when videos were actually being, watched as such. And I believe it's them on a float, right? Kind of going through the street and singing. And I was thinking, this looks really super polished. But also, I was seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, the record label, which I believe was still Warner's, I don't know if they re-signed or whatever, I've really, really pushed this video. They've spent tons of marketing. And I think you're right. There must have been an element where they were sitting down with the label's PR team or whatever. And it was look, we want to get paid.
Yeah.
So they pushed the whole, they pushed a certain look. Did they were wearing makeup all the time and kind of went into that emo thing.
Which was really shocking at the time because... Because Billy Joe, he'd become quite a chonker. And,
he did, yeah.
And he just looked really shit. But that was in line, really, with their whole ethos. And suddenly he was back and all that fucking makeup and everything. Yeah, and
they just looked more like boy bandy. And it was weird because they kind of had gone off that... Even though they were still pop punk, Dookie was one of the biggest selling albums of all time or whatever, but there was still an element where it was they're still a little bit, they still got that kind of punk rock mentality to a degree, but that just but they got thrown out the window, and maybe it was fake the whole time, who knows? But but it felt very much and especially the video to this song as well is them kind of looking back on their career. There's loads old footage of them and everything, and it just makes me feel creepy, makes me feel weird. It's watching. It's a bunch of sold-out old men spouting the same shit, and then you're seeing them do the stuff when they were younger, and it's well, this makes more sense. It's you guys in your 40s, and you're still making this shitty pop punk music for there's not been any change either. There's not been any evolution of their music whatsoever. And you could take any of the songs on any of their last few albums or whatever and interchange them, and it just you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
And it sounds like a facsimile of... Because actually, I think I enjoyed that probably more than anything I've heard from Green Day in 20 years, but I quite liked the verses.
Right.
But the chorus was just, and teeth, lacking teeth.
Yeah.
But those verses sounded a little bit that could be something from the 90s. Early 90s, except for the production, which was just really, again, too slick. Some really horrible, cheesy effects on the vocals, to make them sound distorted and rabble-rousing. Yeah, it was, I hated it. I just hate that whole thing. And exactly, it just reminds me of, the Green Day of old. It was very much of that time. Dookie, 94, whatever, Basket Case and all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, at the time it was really good as well, but and it's a very 90s sounding track, but it's they've just hung everything up on that. That's all Billy Joe knows how to do, really, is those kind of
songs, and it's like, why would I listen to it? I don't know. I just feel it's just a real shame. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, they've always been kind of a pop band, really.
Yeah.
What do I expect?
Yeah, maybe, I suppose you sort of live in hope that they just pack it in.
Yeah. I mean, the worst case, I'm probably kind of doing myself a disservice here for what might be a later edition I could have made, but like the worst of this is Offspring, really, when I think about it, with Pretty Fly, which became such a super popular track at the time, and everyone was like, what the fuck are Offspring doing? But at the same time, they're still like a bit pop punky, but they just went headfirst into pop.
And both of these guys, songwriters, Dexter Holland and Billy Joe, they have a little bit of a taste of that with their serious songwriting. And then it goes to their heads and they overreach and they try and write these like emotional ballads, and Billy Joe's just churned loads of them out over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're just awful. When they don't hold up against any other serious songwriter. Yeah. But then, when he goes back to trying to do what he was good at, then this is the result. So,
yeah,
what's left in the tank?
Exactly. Well, people must still like it if they're still, selling this stuff. Okay. Well, next is your number 3, I believe.
Indeed.
All right. So give that a listen. That was a weird, mystical tune. It sounded like it would be like from the soundtrack of, I don't know, like an experimental, like late 70s film or something like that. And the little reminds me of when Bill Hicks does Goat Boy. It reminded me of that. Bill Hicks fans are what I'm talking about. I have. Was it a song?
It was certainly a song. Sounds happened and time passed.
Well, yeah, that's true. Who was that?
So that was one of my favourite, all-time, absolute favourite bands, the Beach Boys.
Oh.
By no means the best Beach Boys song, but I like to kind of throw that in there if I'm ever trying to just, surprise someone with the more kind of experimental side of their work. Yeah.
Well, consider myself surprised. What albums are it off then? If it is even on an album,
it is. Yeah. So that's from 1967's Smiley Smile.
Right.
I don't know if you know much about the Smile album.
Only what you have told me, basically, and other bits I read in articles and stuff, and that it was like a difficult album to make or whatever.
Yeah, so it got canned. Basically, it was never finished. Never really finished. And that was kind of that track there, which is called Fall Breaks and Back to Winter, W. Woodpecker Symphony. Had been maybe a more ambitious piece of work called Mrs. O'Leary's Cow, which was supposed to be evocative of fire, because there was going to be like an Elements suite.
Okay.
And actually, following the recording of that song, there were some outbreaks of fires in the local vicinity. Brian Wilson was convinced that the recording of the song had somehow caused those fires. Right. And that was just like one of the kind of elements where, the recording of this album started to unravel and become problematic. Okay. His increasing paranoia and sort of issues of mental health. But yeah, a lot of when Smile collapsed basically and was cancelled, suddenly they're rushing to put out another album.
Right.
And actually a lot of the Smile songs end up being reinterpreted and re-recorded in this new really quite weird way. So less ambitious, definitely. Less rich, and far lower production value, and mostly recorded at Brian's home studio. But like these weird, quite sparse, stripped back, and just like kind of dry and druggy kind of arrangements of songs, which I really love. So yeah, Smiley Smile. A lot of people go, oh, it was meant to be Smile, and there was so much expectation, and then this weird thing came out. Which totally alienated everyone at the time.
Right.
But I love it. Absolutely love it. And there's nothing else out there, not even in the Beach Boys catalogue. It's a really, totally unique album.
Yeah.
And that's one of the weirder moments on it.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting enough, and I suppose it's one of those things where it didn't last forever. So even if you're you want to hear a normal song structure, it's actually I imagine a nice little bit in between that you don't have to sit through if you don't like it, if you know what I mean. But I found it quite pleasant to actually listen to.
Yeah, it's almost like an interlude or linking track.
Yeah, and that's how it's used.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, because it was it was enjoyable, but in its own weird way. But yeah, I don't know. It did feel like. Yeah, as I was saying, it was almost a soundtrack for a film or something, but a bit weird and experimental. I felt like I could almost see the song, and that's going to sound really wanky, but
no, well, that's how a lot of the Smile material is. It's very evocative.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good one. That's a nice, something a bit different from a band that people would normally associate with certain surfer songs too.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Your turn. This is my number 3.
Number 3. Going in. Okay, that was a nice track.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, it was just really kind of very upbeat, positive, kind of breezy. Still felt kind of muscular in a way. Mm-hmm. It was kind of exerting a kind of quiet power, really. Probably through the playing and the arrangement, but obviously it's very nice, kind of enjoyable, relaxing tune.
Yeah, do you know who it is at all?
Not a clue. The whole time I was even trying to place it. I was could be a kind of post-punk band having a quieter moment, mid to late 80s.
If you were thinking that, you'd actually be correct. I actually, Spotify threw this up as a recommendation. And interestingly, it's by The Damned.
Oh, right.
And it's the guitarist who went on to do the Captain Sensible thing. It's him singing and all this stuff. And it's weird because I don't really like The Damned that much. Apart from the obvious ones, whether it's nee nee nee. But,
that one.
Yeah, that was just always sounds like a little car horn going off in the middle of a song. But I like that one. And this, I was surprised to find out, it was a Damned song, and it's off the album Strawberries. And weirdly, there's parts of it that I'm that could be released now, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially the little guitar jangly bits and all this stuff. I'm that's sounds almost quite like Foles-esque, fairly recent. But then that chorus kind of gives it away.
Yeah.
for being of that time. But as a melody and like a nice kind of soothing kind of vocals and stuff, it's just I think it's a really like nice song to listen to, and a surprisingly well written one.
I'm really surprised, but then again, I suppose I don't have a very good understanding of what the Damned are all about. But I always think of obviously like the very early stuff, New Rose and all that biz.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what I always think of. But yeah, I mean, I saw a video of them recently. Like, I think they played Guildfest, which is near where we come from in Guildford, in Surrey. But that's like proper Surrey. And it's like they're all like a bit like the Captain Sensible guy. I can't remember his real name. And he's all like, "All right, yeah. So gonna play. Life Goes On. For Strawberries, isn't it? Yeah, Strawberries album. Yeah, and all this stuff. And I'm just like thinking, fucking hell, like, when it's like a band reaches a certain age and you're like, they're just doing this for like something to do, for a laugh. They've just lost all sense of like trying to be cool. Do you know what I mean? They're just like, they're a bit more like, it's like, your dad or your granddad down the pub kind of thing, like back before he's about to get up and do some karaoke or whatever. It's like, just maintain some kind of dignity in your old age. Like, and I know that's kind of, maybe that's not punk rock or whatever, be yourself and all that stuff, and I get it, but yeah, it kind of loses, and then to go into like that song, it loses some of the magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, these guys and Green Day, they have to think they've got a legacy to protect. Yeah,
or maybe they just, don't really care. Yeah, but I quite like it. And it's a song that, when I first heard it, I was like, I quite like that. When I thought it was down, I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. And it's ended up on my, like, rotation, basically.
Great. Well, Spotify. Good work, Spotify.
Yeah,
you're not always a cunt.
Exactly, yeah. It does throw up some little hidden gems every now and then. Right, so this is your number 4 song, Dan.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you think of this song.
Okay, right, let's give it a listen. That was really interesting. I have no idea who it was. I'm still undecided whether I liked it or not. It sounds like something. That riff sounds like something. It sounds like I blow my trumpet a bit, but like that I would probably write during a jam or something like that. It's quite a slow groove, and it sounds a bit weird, and I quite like that aspect of it. And yeah, it was a bit different, but yeah, I couldn't recognise anything about it.
If you could write some more riffs like that during jams, then I'd be very happy, man.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, who was it?
The Jesus Lizard.
I thought it might be. Yeah, I didn't want to say it in case I looked stupid.
What did you think of the vocals?
Yeah, I don't mind. It's I think it's one of those things that I would have to get used to a little bit, but I like the fact that it's different enough to keep me interested. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not immediately approachable,
No.
But then it's kind of pulling me in because it's so strange, in a good way.
Yeah, and that's the appeal for me with David Yao. Across many of his projects.
He's an actor as well or something, isn't he?
Yeah, well, after the Jesus Lizard broke up, he seemed to try and work in graphic design, and more recently in acting. So it's quite funny, if you Google him, you can find like some of his like professional CVs and headshots and things, and he's like, there's no pulling the wool over people's eyes, you're a psychopath. He just looks deranged. But I threw this in here because I saw him last week.
Did you? What? In a dumpster?
Yeah. He's the front man for Flipper.
Is he?
filling in for their erstwhile singer who's dealing with his heroin addiction
issues.
resulting in death.
Yeah. I only really know of, I think we've talked about this before, but like the Flipper stuff just through, Kurt wearing that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I literally don't really know anything much more about them than that.
I was going to chuck a Flipper track at you, actually, but I thought, because I've been wanting to throw the Jesus Lizard in, so I went with the Jesus Lizard this time round.
So is this one of your favourite tracks of theirs?
Yes, it is. I'd say a lot of their other stuff's more bombastic, but I picked this. It's the lead track from what is generally thought of to be their best album, which is Goat. It's called Then Comes Dudley.
Right.
What I like about it is, it's so slow, but that kind of bass lurch that's under everything, especially at the beginning, there's just something so lewd and indecent about it, and it's kind of queasy, and then you've got this really giddy, jazzy guitar stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's quite hypnotic, but it's also quite, something like nauseating about it. And then David Yao enters the picture with his horrible lyrics about, they're not that direct, but they make reference to just lots of visually unappealing things.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make it out. It's like that woman, it sounds like saying that woman's crazy, that woman's carrying or something.
Yeah, there's something about cleaning out her wound. And
right.
there is unpleasant illusions.
That's lovely.
But it's all it feels very confrontational, hostile, and obviously, his style is pretty loose, but the music, those three guys are really tight.
Right.
And so, if you listen to more, you'd probably be able to comment. But I think it's quite interesting and it's quite jazzy, what they do.
Yeah, I do still need to listen. It's just because it's like of its nature, it's a little bit harder work to obviously get into than other music.
But a lot's made of the guitarist Dwayne Dennison's work.
Good.
Which I think is I think it's unusual for what's essentially like a noise rock band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a nice little ending to your catalogue of songs for this week.
A nice Sunday evening kind of.
Yeah, this one, my chosen last song, when I think about it, is actually quite a nice closer to the whole thing of whole proceedings. Let's have a listen.
Okie doke. What's that? Sorry. I think I nodded off there towards the end.
In a good way, or was it a bit too? Was it a bit too slow?
It was like a beautiful shimmering lullaby.
Yeah.
I think if I had a slightly stronger melody, I would have liked it more. Halfway through, I was just sort of like, well, this is sort of nice and not really going anywhere. I started to get the sort of creeping sense that maybe I was listening to like a advert for a car or something. I can imagine like a car going down a German autobahn in the middle of the night and someone going, "The new Vauxhall runs silently. The quietest drive of your life."
Yeah, okay. Do you... So have you heard it before or anything like that?
No.
No.
I don't really know. No. What? Who? What?
Who
and
is
why?
it? So it's a band called Slowdive, who are actually around in the 90s.
It's Slowdive.
Yeah, and they reformed about 4 years ago, maybe 2015, I think. And then they put this out in 2017. It's in a new album.
Yeah.
And I think this was the single immediately before the album was released. I might be wrong, but still. And I didn't know Slowdive, so I thought it was a new band. And then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, they're like really old. And they broke up like in the late 90s or something. And then, yeah, so they did different things. And yeah, this was off their latest album when they reformed. It's called Sugar for the Pill.
I do remember. I think I listened to this album when it came out, but obviously didn't make much of an impression on me.
Yeah,
I didn't retain that song, that's for sure. But it got really good reviews, didn't it?
I mean, I have to say this is like one of my favourite songs of the last couple of years.
Wow.
And that's how much I enjoyed it. But then I like all those kind of. I don't know, like, it's a lame example, but like Sigur Rós and all this stuff, that have these like nice, slow, like dreamy kind of, ambience almost to them, like ethereal kind of vocals and nice, kind of like guitar work where it's all slightly, dream pop almost, and a bit staccato and a bit shoegazy, or and all that.
I like that framework, but then, like I say, I'd like a stronger something in there, like a melodic hook or something coming through to kind of capture my interest.
Yeah, fair enough. I think as well for me, it's I think what I'm trying to get to is that I enjoy the melancholia of it all. And if you listen to it lyrically as well, there's like a sadness. It's like twinge of sadness, the whole thing, which makes it feel like quite a beautiful moment. But it's one of those songs where it's like if you're feeling a bit down or something, not that it's a jubilant song, but you just kind of you want to go from like depressed, just kind of melancholy. It kind of makes that transition quite nicely, which is one step up. So that's the last of them. A nice Sunday, well for us anyway. Sunday afternoon listening.
An affirming message to leave people with as well.
Yeah,
don't be depressed. Just pull your socks up and be melancholy.
Yeah, at least be melancholy. Come on, Jesus. Which of the songs that I chose would you consider the best, or something that you would follow up on?
Oh, Jesus. Right, what did we have?
If any.
So we had Green Day.
Yeah, Green Day.
No.
Yeah. No.
I imagine some
Idols.
Green Day could be part of my future, but not that. Idols. Yeah, because actually I meant to listen to that when it came out, and I didn't get around to it.
Yeah,
I would say specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just because I've been entrenched in it for so long now that Idols would be my pick of the selection that I made anyway, to follow up on.
Like I said, I did listen to that Slowdive, and that doesn't really inspire me to go back and listen to it again. What was the first sound pick?
Idols was first. It was Idols, then Green Day, then The Damned.
Oh, of course, yeah. I liked that Damned song, I really did, but I don't know, again, am I going to go back and poke around in their back catalogue? Maybe I'll look up that album, Strawberries.
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of have a listen around it, but I was still like, I don't know, there's something about that one song, and I also think because it's not really like a hit or like a well-known one that, when you find like an album or something and you're like, there's one song which kind of stands out in a completely different way from the rest of it. I feel like that might be it.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly. What did you choose? I forgot now. So you had Pissed On. I don't think I'm going to be going near that.
With that grey flap.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that grey flap. I think
you might be interested. You might be interested to know that on that album is a cover of The Smiths' "Shoplifters of the World Unite."
It's not going to be a good one, is it? Also, like, you know, when people do like covers of The Smiths or whatever, it's like, come on, "Shoplifters of the World Unite." It's like, hand it over. It's not one of their greatest. So maybe some people do think it is. But
aren't you intrigued to hear him tackle that?
Hand it over. I don't know. Maybe. What else did you have? I can't remember now. You had Pissed On, you had Beach Boys. I don't know. I think probably maybe the Beach Boys one, but not based either on that song. Just more like, I think I just need to listen to more of the stuff, because, you know, it's not just you that talks about, you know, Brian Wilson and the fact that they're, you know, bigger than their hits and all this.
Yeah.
So I think it's still something that I just need to get into. Who else did you have? I can't remember.
Ghost.
Oh yeah, no way, not touching that. Jesus Lizard. I need to do that when I'm in the right frame of mind, I think. See, I'd probably say Beach Boys, which is weird because it's like the one that isn't, you know, a typical song. You chose one of the more experimental ones, if that makes sense. But
so there's such a vast, rich kind of catalogue there with the Beach Boys. It's just kind of like picking your entry point and
go for it.
Starting to poke around.
Yeah. Well, I'll do that. Okay, well, that was another episode of 3 Hits and a Shit. And for anyone else that's not anyone else, for anyone that's listening, for anyone else who's not me and Dan that's listening to each other, we're going to be doing a episode on Nirvana's album Bleach. We're going to try and do that next week, I believe, aren't we?
Yes.
Are we? Yes.
Oh, yes.
So that was, there's been a bit of research put into that one as well. And we'll be going through it track by track and giving a little bit of insight where we can, and also just, what we think of the sound and what was kind of happening at the time. And that's it really. Just having a look at that album, because it's been 30 years, if you can believe it.
Crikey.
30 slow, horrible, depressing, dark years since the release of the dark, depressing Bleach album.
But at least we've been able to tackle those 30 years day by day with Floyd the Barber in our ears.
Yeah. Well, look, we fucking made it. Kurt didn't. So who's the real winner? I'm still here, motherfucker. Yeah.
I like to apply that logic basically to every great person in history. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I beat you because I'm still alive. Shakespeare.
Idiot.
That's the game. The game is actually who's going to be there at the end of the world.
Yeah, well, it's true. The thing is that it's a game that you will lose.
Not if I bring about the end of the world.
Well, you'd still lose.
You don't know what phase 2 is.
You bring about the end of the world, but you survive solely. That's the only way you'd win.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some trans-dimensional shit going on, of course.
Well, it's not, of course. You haven't explained. You've not thought this through. Quite frankly, it's annoying me.
Maybe we could have a nice, interesting format, maybe, for a future show. Trans-dimensional island discs. What 10 albums would you take through a trans-dimensional rift in time and space, knowing that the rest of humanity is about to be wiped out?
It would obviously be Nirvana's Bleach album. Hey guys, have you heard of Swap Meet?
Imagine explaining that to a single-celled organism.
Organisation. Yeah. Orgasm, yeah. Just Well, one cell orgasm, otherwise known as prison. So thanks for listening to us. Go to @ANewWinter on our Instagram and our Twitter, and sign up to patreon.com/ANewWinter, where if I can raise enough cash, I will do an episode by episode breakdown of Twin Peaks, which I really want to do.
Wow.
But there's going to be a lot of time and effort put into that for obvious reasons. So go on, sign up and give some money, and then I'll bother to do it. And there's some exclusive content there as well. So do take a look. Dan, where can people find you?
Dreadful Discs on Instagram. And that's it.
How's your YouTube channel coming?
Yeah, slow progress.
No progress.
It's coming. It's on the back burner.
Right. I do actually look forward to it because I've been getting more and more. I haven't been getting more and more into vinyl because I haven't bought any, but as in, I'm enjoying posts about vinyl. I'm enjoying seeing them and all the different shit that comes with it.
Well, you'll love this then when it appears.
Exactly. And I want to see you talk about it and show me what the hell is going on. But yeah, like unboxing videos are like a thing. So unboxing vinyl.
Yeah,
yeah.
Do you know what I've got? I've got a lovely sealed copy of a recent reissue of the original Twin Peaks soundtrack. Lovely deluxe packaging.
That's good.
So
did you watch the limited series of Twin Peaks, the recent one that came out?
No. I've been saving it up, and I managed to avoid any. Spoilers, yes, but even any indication of what might have happened or who's in it, etc.
Okay.
So
well, that's
been
good.
warned.
No. But no, I'm not going to say it's nothing to spoil it. But the soundtrack for that series is really good, and at the end, I think of almost each episode, it ends with a song, and the whole song, not just a bit of the song. It's Miami Connection style. But it has proper performances, I should say. So anyway, what I'm saying is that for a music lover as well, the latest series of Twin Peaks is a good watch as and of itself, to be honest.
Well, if people pay you to do the Twin Peaks thing, if they want to pay me like 5p, then I'll do my Twin Peaks thing.
Yeah, well, you've done more for less.
No, let's not go there. This is a nice time to wrap up the recording.
True. Thanks everyone for listening, and listen out for our next one on Nirvana's Bleach. See ya.
Bye.